All right, one thing I forgot to mention in that last tutorial on type was how to edit type once you've created it. So if you've created type and now you come back and you click on it and you want to change something, how do you do that? And it's really quite simple. There are a couple ways you can do it. One is you can grab the type tool over here, and if I hover over the type, notice how that box, that dotted box around the cursor disappears. You want to get that if you're going to edit type. If you're going to create new type, then I can click over here and I've created new type. If that box is there, it's going to create new type. If it disappears, then you're ready to edit existing type. And it's just like in any word processing program, click and drag to select what you want. You can double click to select a whole word, or you can double click and then drag out. There we go. So now I can change my Great Cave map to my Great Cave map. So that's how you can go about editing text that you've already created. Okay, the next thing we want to look at then is adding the additional elements to finally make our map look really great. So, and in order to do that, really, it's up to you. That you can go through and figure out what kind of tools you'd like to use, which tools give you the features you want. So for example, let's say you wanted a border around your map. I might grab the rectangle tool here, make sure that it's got a stroke but no fill. So I'm going to swap that, because otherwise, watch what happens. Zoom out a little bit so you can see the whole map. And I'm going to click right here. I want the border to be right there. So draw that out, and I've got a solid fill. So let's swap that so it's a stroke instead of a fill, and now I have a beautiful border around my map. I'm going to delete this element. Okay, another thing that you might do is what I just deleted. That's adding some separators. So I'm going to grab my line tool here, and I'm going to click right about there. Hold the shift key down to make sure it's a straight line. If I don't hold the shift key down, I might get something crooked like that, which could be cool. Draw it over. And then I'll add another element. There we go. Another line underneath. I can grab this one, hold the Alt key down or Option key, drag it out. That drags a duplicate of it. And what are some other elements we might want to use? Or we might want to include, maybe one is a legend. So I might grab my rectangle tool and draw another rectangle. This is going to include my legend. I'm going to need some type in it that says legend, so I'll grab my type tool and click and type legend. And let's draw that out. So there's my legend. I'm going to need some maybe some other boxes if I want to include the shapes in boxes. So grab the solid and let's swap that so that it is not filled but it's the stroke. And then I could open my symbols palette, which we looked at earlier. Let's find that, symbols, and maybe I'll just grab out an instance of this popcorn. And obviously that needs to be a little bit bigger, so let's make it a little bit bigger. So there is my popcorn. Grab my type tool and let's call that popcorn. And I can make it as big or as small as I want. So you get the idea. So you're just going around and drawing different elements, whatever you think you need, and whatever tools you think you need. And this is a good opportunity to explore some of these other tools. What do they do? And is that something I want to include on my map? Another thing that you can do, and that I would recommend doing, is studying other cave maps and just other maps in general, topographical maps. See how they lay things out and see if you can duplicate that in Illustrator, or what elements can you use or can't you use. So I think, let's see, is that about it? Pretty simple. It's just a matter of using all these tools. Now, one thing that I didn't do, and this is a bad thing, which you should be doing, and that is I didn't create my own layer for this stuff. So I might have had a layer for my my map elements, which would be like the border and then the legend containers and that. But I was dumb and ended up putting it all in the solid cave fill. So if I turn off the fill now, I turn off all the other elements. So that causes some problems there, you can see. We don't want that. So when you're doing your map, make sure that you have these things. So you might have one layer. Let's see how I've got mine set up here. This is an existing map that I pulled out. And I have a text layer. And you notice if I turn that on, it turns on all the text, including the names of passages, the entranceways, the cross-section numbers. And let's see what other layer I have here. Okay, I've got a map object, so when I click on that, that gives me my lines, the border, and what else do we have up here? Oh, I also have a scale. If I turn that map objects on, and then I created a little symbol up here just for fun. So that's how I've got things organized, and you can choose how you want to organize them as well. And all of these were created just with some simple tools. So you can see that all I did was use the type tool. I used the line tool and changed the thickness of these lines, added a bunch of little lines in between there. So pretty simple. I used the circle tool, I used some other things, fills, strokes, etc. So I think that's about it. You just go through and add whatever it is you want to include on your cave. In the next tutorial, we'll look at hierarchy and why that's important for your final design.